Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We do these every single Tuesday, leadership Zooms. I'm so excited. If you showed up, pat yourself on the back. You are winning this Tuesday. You are about to be poured into and all the fun, exciting things. If you don't know who Jason Jorgensen is, he is our Vice President of Strategy and Growth. And he's super freaking smart, y'all. His brain, I'm a detailed person and he's a detailed person. So I love that. Thank you so much for taking your time and joining us. I will just say, go ahead for maybe anybody that really hasn't known your story or where you came from, if you could just kind of share that about yourself really quick.
Me, you're speaking to me.
Yes,
I'm
you.
sitting there looking, going, all right. Um, all right. So, just a little bit about me. I've been in the industry nearly 30 years. I started back in the mid 90s with a company that you have probably all heard of, named a New Skin. And as we've kind of launched Xera, I have a little bit of basic understanding of where we're going and what we're doing. I understand ingredients, things like that. So that was kind of where I cut my teeth. And then from there, I actually left the industry briefly, started a software company, sold it, and then went back into the industry and have been in the industry ever since. So we spent a lot of time both on the operations and then the field side. And so I understand both sides of the industry quite well. And um, I also helped build an essential oil line at one point as well. So I do have a really good grasp on just the workflow, how things work, comp plans, ingredients, getting into foreign countries, kind of just the whole gamut of all things network marketing. And I'll tell you, one of the most critical things, in my opinion, is the field, the relationship the field has with corporate. It's a right hand, left hand relationship. And with so many things, you can't do much with your right hand if you don't have your left hand to be complementary. Washing your hands is a perfect example. So this is my very favorite part of the industry. When I came to work for Lavelle, this is what I kind of picked to do, is to work with the field, to work with leaders, to strategize, to come up with better ways to build and grow your business. Um, to some degree, coach people on how to build their business strategically. And so I'm super excited about Xera, super excited about working and building and growing and just seeing so many of y'all having success and getting that fire in your belly. And I've said this before, Amber's one of my very favorite promoters. Same with Maria. Um, they both pour into their team. They pour into their own business, obviously, as well. Um, but I can tell you that you are on one of the very best teams that I've ever seen in nearly 30 years. So, um, teams where leaders have their best interest and lead by example, are you're just very fortunate, right? This does not happen to everyone. I'm just telling you. So you're consider yourself very fortunate to be part of this group. Amber, th is that good enough to kick things off?
Yes, and thank you so much for saying that. Okay, so I love that you have knowledge in skincare lines and health and wellness lines and all the things. So like you're definitely like you're not somebody that's like, well, I'm not really sure. Let's try this and see what happens. Like you have those that knowledge of the different types. I will say, so guys, if you didn't see Xera, they posted it in our cloud office. It should be shipping. Is it the end of this week or like is it shipping now, Jason?
Yeah,
Like,
so here,
am I
the good
stalking
news,
FedEx?
we'll start this off with some good news. All of the components are in the warehouse. We have products there, so all the, the packages and the shipments are being put together right now, and I believe we'll start shipping either tomorrow or Thursday. So I would expect that most people will start seeing their shipment early next week.
Okay.
So that's awesome. And I know there's other things in the works as well that you're going to hear about shortly. So, now's the time to really start putting
Mhm.
um, your plan of action of how you're going to share, who you're going to share with, all the Christmas cards, all the neighbor baskets, yada, yada, yada. Those are places that you absolutely want to be putting samples in, that
Mhm.
you also want to be, make sure that you've got some little cards, things like that, that will help direct people, guide people, how to put it on, things like that, just all of these little things. But it couldn't be at a better time with Christmas right around the corner.
Yeah. And I think too, like this gives us such an opportunity to get back to inviting people into our home or at a coffee shop or you're not just coming to hear me tell you how good I feel. Now you're coming because I want to demo this on you. And that's kind of how I've been talking to my neighbors and different things is hey, I need some people to demo this on. And they're like, I'll do it. And then coming over, and, I've been talking about how when you have these demo parties, have your Thrive Plus line, the beverage mixes, have those laid out on your counter so that they can choose. Because what happened when I did that is people were like, wait, what's this Pink Pro? Wait, what's this Creme Plus? Or what's this one, this rebuild? And then they were taking and, mixing it, making their drink for the evening, but then also taking some samples of those home. Well, now I have people ordering products they weren't ordering before, in addition to they pre-ordered Xera. Jason, when or do we have a date yet when it will be like permanently open to order so that people can take advantage of the auto ship side of it?
Yeah, that's happening probably today or tomorrow.
Oh,
So there will be an announcement coming like uh shortly.
you're
And
you're
it's
like
gonna
not
go
sure what you
open.
could
So
say.
well, I don't wanna what I don't want to do is give someone, false hope. I would much prefer to under promise and over deliver than over promise and under deliver. And so um I do know that just in a conversation with Jason Camper yesterday, and Cliff and I and a couple of other executives, that it was like, hey, we're making the announcement, we're kicking this thing out the door, and it's go time. So super exciting. There will be some other little pieces of information in this communication, but you're going to start seeing stuff pop up in the back office that will help you. But yeah, you'll be able to start ordering everything, as well as we're working on business builder kits, things that you're going to be able to buy and build and help duplicate um, samples, etc.
Okay, yes, thank you so much for that. So I did have someone asking, and we've been hearing this a lot, but my answer, because people are like, well, what's the source of the exosomes? And I don't know what you can tell us of that. I know y'all have said it's ethically sourced. So in my mind, that knocks out the unethical
Yeah,
side.
yeah. So
But how much can you tell us that we can share for those haters?
well, let me take a maybe a little bit different approach. So let's compare the Thrive one, two, three experience. Let's compare all the other awesome products that we have here. When Jason Camper started this company, he started it with the goal and with the idea that if he built a superior product with the very best ingredients, that people would continue to buy the product because it's the very best product. He's taken the same approach. So the very best exosomes on the market are in our products. They are not only the very best um, exosome option that are out there, right? Because you can get all kinds of exosomes, right? From blood to plant derived to, whatever. Ours are the very, very best. There are not better exosomes. There are not better ingredients. And this is something that he's worked on for years. So I don't want to give you anything that would be misleading, or I just want to tell you the cold hard facts, and that is we've got the very best ingredients out there, period. That
Awesome.
so
Awesome. I feel like that's always been like the foundation and cornerstone of Lavelle is sourcing the most premium ingredients, and I trust in this company and their ethics and the way that they don't do business and the way that they do business. So for me, I guess I'm all in, and so I'm just that trusting. And I know that they have not only our best interests, but also those that are using our product, because obviously we've seen the difference in premium ingredients. So I trust that that's what
well,
Jason's comfort
think
thinks.
about it. Like you can always get somebody. You can BS your way through certain things, and you can tell somebody that, oh, this is so good and this is that, whatever. But you only get them once, right? And so when you have a line of products and you have a philosophy of how you build your products, how you source your ingredients from the very beginning, then you do build trust in the company, and you build trust in the products, and you know that when you take a product, you're going to get the same thing day in and day out. And I can tell you, I'm not going to name names, but I can tell you that I've been with companies where I've seen some of the major ingredients, because they cost a lot of money, actually thinned out or taken out, and I was just blown away but that happens. That does not happen at Lavelle, and that does not happen with Jason Camper. He builds, and he builds with the very best. And that's why there's been so much success with the products through the years, is because of the consistency and the top shelf approach to product building. And I think with this line, it might even be um, one of the very best lines and products that Jason's ever put together. Like it's that good, and you can clearly see it if you've tuned into the Zooms. By the way, we have one tonight, and we're excited. So make sure you tune in 7 p.m. Central, and you'll be able to see firsthand, if you have not seen, how this product works, and it's amazing. That's part of what makes it so amazing, is not only do we have a $3 billion company that is launching a brand new division, but we have a product that is, in my opinion, the very most demonstratable product that I've ever seen in this industry. Nothing even comes close to it. You see the results within minutes.
Yeah. Well, and I will tell you, for anybody that's gotten to even sample this or try this, and we did a local in Minnesota last month, and we had two girls that hadn't used it yet demonstrate it at the local. And one thing is that with just by using the skin prep, the cleanser, they were like, "Oh my gosh, my skin is already feeling like tighter and more open." And I was thinking, I was like, Yeah, I didn't think about because we got to sample the tightener step three first, right? So when we did get to sample all three in Punta Cana, I really wasn't thinking about how I was already feeling things with step one. And then step two, Jason, I've told everybody you're gonna need to make this in like big, huge, like gallon vats because the first time I used it, I'm addicted. I'm absolutely addicted to step two. Like I thought step three was wow, you can see it, it works. No, like step two, I will bathe in. My skin soaked it up, and it's almost like my skin was singing. Like it was so happy putting on that hydrator. Like, so I can't explain how happy my skin was.
No, I understand. I felt the same. And in fact, I've heard that from so many people that the hydrator is where it's at. Now, with that, you don't see the immediate results that you do through the demonstration of the lift. But I think long term, you're going to see long-term results with the hydrator. I think people in 6 months, a year from now, they're going to start seeing a process that they have not seen through their skin maybe ever, right? As it's going to continue to become more and more youthful. And every person's skin is going to react differently, but that's part of the magic in this is you're pouring back into your skin and your body um, these exosomes that are the signals of they're what helps your body recover. They're what helps your body rebuild and remodel, as Jason Camper puts it, the youthful process that everyone's looking for.
Well, and I will say too, so gang, if you are one, I hope you bought samples. I hope, and if you didn't, you can still get in and get samples, and get all three steps because if you're only demonstrating step three to people, you're doing a disservice. They definitely need to make sure that they're sampling when you do a demo party or the one-on-one, however you're doing it, they need to sample all three steps because I will tell you when I only did step three, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. But step two, I'm like, oh, this is where it's at. Like this is definitely so you need to make sure that they're doing all three steps when it's demoed because we don't want them just thinking, well, I just want to be able to see the lift and I'm only buying step three. Like you're doing them a disservice if they're not going to get this that's going to help repair over time and they're going to thank you for that. So make sure you're doing all the steps.
And step one is equally as important because it's where all the preparation happens, right? It's what exfoliates the skin, it opens the pore, it cleans the pore out. And part of the magic with step two and step three is having the pore ready to receive the exosomes, right? And the penetration of the exosomes and the magic sauce, if you will, that makes it work. And so being able to have that prepared and ready is as much or maybe even more importantly than what you actually do by using the lift itself.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna dig into your brain. Um,
Okay.
so Vice President Strategy and Growth, let's talk about that. This last season in the world and all the things, it's been a little crazy. So let's talk strategy to somebody, let's start with an existing promoter. All right. Existing promoter kind of dealt with some ups and downs in life and people and skeptics and whatever. How would you tell them to, hey, let's strategize to grow your business moving into 2026?
Okay, awesome question. I get this a lot. I especially get this when I meet with people one-on-one. And the first thing I do, um, I can only be as effective in helping guide someone as the information that I'm given, right? It's kind of like if you go to the doctor and you really have a headache and You tell them your foot hurts, right? Well, that's where they're going to focus, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the basics. And in fact, I hope we create a slogan in the company of let's get back to basics, belly to belly, right? Talking to people, making that connection. That right there is probably one of the most critical parts of your business. And I don't care where your business is. I don't care if you've done, $1 billion in sales or if you've done, $100 in sales. It doesn't matter. What makes this business and keeps this business growing is the connections and the new connections that come. So we have to start right there. And this, if you've had a good run and you're looking to get back into it, if you're not quite sure where to start, you start with the product, right? You have to be an evangelist of what you're going to sell. And this kind of goes to your point, Amber, about just one of the steps. No, you need to know all three steps. You need to know how they work, and you need to know what they do to you because you can't share with someone the product or the opportunity if you're not convinced yourself. That was a critical thing for me when I was looking at Lavelle, right? I was like, I will not be associated with a company that I don't completely believe in the products that and the fact that they can stand on their own 2 feet. And I've never seen a company that has better products. And so you have to start there, right? Wherever you're at, make sure that you're an evangelist of the product. Believe in the product. Have an experience with the product. Um, and then you're better able to share. And once you understand how the product feels and what it does to you, that's when you can actually share the opportunity to build this as a business. If you don't have that foundation, then you can't build upon that. And like any type of structure or organization, you have to have a strong foundation. Like that's paramount. So when you start building on something, if that foundation is not there, it'll crumble. And your business is absolutely critical. So you have to have that belief and that mindset. And sometimes you have to reset that mindset, right? Sometimes you have to be like, okay, I'm gonna reset this, um, and just dwell on the positive. Don't dwell on the negative, whatever it is. Dwell on, some people have a different experience with one product than another, and vice versa. And so find what it is that works for you, and that's where you start sharing. So number one priority, right there, and strategically that is applicable for everyone in the business, regardless of where you're at. So that's probably the number one thing to focus on. I think the second thing to focus on is, um, you know, what is your priorities? Well, like what governs your time, and how do you take this opportunity and build and grow? I believe part of it is just organizing yourselves. I've shared this example so many times, and some of you maybe have heard it, but right out of college, I went to work for a company called Franklin Covey, which is a time management company, and I trained new employees. I trained employees how to interact with customers. And so I got some of my training from Stephen Covey, the the author of the Seven Habits book. And I'll never forget this example he shared. He brought in, he had a couple of different demonstration tables, and on each one of them there were different sized rocks, and then there was this box. And then he had a big bucket of gravel. And the first example is he took the rocks and the gravel and he just started throwing it all into this box, and he couldn't get it to all fit. It didn't fit. So then the second example, he started and he took the biggest rock and he put it at the base in the middle of the box. And then he took the next two rocks and put them in the corners. And then he took the group of three or four, medium-sized rocks. And then he took the bucket of gravel and he poured it all around the big rocks and it all fit. And he said, if you can master this concept in your life, you can master how you use your time most effectively. And he said, so you have to start with the number one priority in your life. That's the big rock. And that really should be, I'm not going to tell you what it should be for you, but in most cases, it's yourself, your family, your God, whatever it is that is most important, that always takes precedence. Always. And then from there, you take the next biggest items. And if we're gonna talk business, business is probably, two or three down the line. But you have to remember that your business is also what provides for your family. It provides for yourself. It helps you sharpen your own saw. It's what keeps you going, yada, 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 right? And so manage your time in a way that you have time to work your business, but you also have time to pour into other people. And, think about the instructions you always get on an airplane, right? Make sure that you put the oxygen mask on you first, and then you're able to help others. And your business needs to absolutely be like that. So, um, come up with a time management system that works for you. That is advice that I would give anyone, and I don't care what part of their business they're at. Make sure that you have your time managed in a way that you're most effective. Um, if you're somebody that writes things down on a list, then the night before, write down the things that you need to get done the next day. Whether it's, all right, I need to make three or four posts during the day, I need to follow up with customers, I need to review my reports in my cloud office so I can see who's ordered and who has not ordered. Those are the things that absolutely make the difference um, in your day. Um, and anyone on this Zoom, I would challenge you that if you're struggling or if you're looking for guidance, shoot Amber a text and say, Amber, how do you do this each day? Right? I mean, Amber, I know Amber's background, and Amber was a beautician, right? She cut hair, and she has figured out how to be an amazing promoter. And, she's won literally about every award that you could possibly win. Um, because she was coachable, right? She listened to somebody. Somebody told Amber, this is what you need to do, right? This is how you do this. This is how you do that. And I'm guessing a lot of that came from her upline, from Maria. But one thing that people didn't teach Amber is how to show up every day. Amber taught Amber how to show up. Amber had to fight through the mindset of this is what I need to do every day. And I'm going to go back to the analogy of the putting the rocks in the box, right? So most of you probably know Carson. I follow Carson. Love motocross riding myself, and so I really enjoy watching him. But I can tell you that if Carson gets in an accident on the motocross track, that is the number one rock for Amber. It doesn't matter where her cab is, or, she's going to focus on what matters most, right? And so that will always change, right? Day in and day out. And as you manage your business, you need to be able to be flexible, and you need to be able to always go back to what matters most, and focus on that. And your business will be successful if you do that. But your business is not going to be successful if you don't focus your time and put your time in the most productive places. It just won't. If you're inconsistent with showing up, you can expect your business to be inconsistent in your paycheck showing up, right? If you're consistently building and growing your business, you don't have to be married to it, but just be consistent, then your business will um, be consistent in paying you. And I think those things, even though they're basic and they're things that all of you have probably heard 100 times, the personal application is absolutely critical that you come up with a routine to follow. You find out how to manage your time, and then you pour into the business, right? Um, I can see quite a few different people on here that I know quite well, and they all build their business differently. And that's all right. Use the talents that you have, um, but just be consistent. And I think if you do that, you're gonna find success. If you're brand new and you're like, where do I start? Well, that's a great question. Start by tying yourself to the product. Start by having a product experience and then just share it with whoever you come in contact with. Make sure that you have your DFT on. Make sure that you have um, the mindset of being willing to talk to people. And I know that sounds crazy, but some people are more introverts, some people are more extroverted. I'm a combination of both. Um, but I can tell you one thing, if I have a product that has made a difference in my life, or if I watch a movie that affected me, or if I'm passionate about this or that, I'm way more willing to share. And I think as a general rule, that's how people operate, right? And so make sure that you're ready to share and that you're willing to share, that's where you start. How many people have you shared the product with, Amber?
A lot.
Like
A lot.
thousands?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even know. I don't
Once a day, twice a day?
I multiple and honestly, here's what I want to go back to adding in when you're talking about time management and getting organized. Because guys, I'm going to tell you, you don't you don't have to have it all figured out before you can run with this business. So when Maria called me to reach out to me about Thrive to begin with, I was 10+ hour day. It was around Thanksgiving, which started, the longest holiday season of a hairdresser, right? I was exhausted. I was driving home. She's at a basketball at her daughter's middle school basketball game, working the concession stand as mom of an athlete, right? And she snuck away to tell me about this product. And I'm just driving home and I really didn't want anything to do with it. But she continued to follow up with me. And what's awesome is that she led by example in the sense of just talk about it when you can talk about it, right? And so I was talking about it in the nooks and crannies. Like it wasn't like, oh, I have 30 minutes to sit down. No, my client was late. I've got at least 2 minutes, maybe five. And I would sit and I would send messages. And if, a client was early and I finished early, I was like, oh, I got 5 minutes. And I would send in as many messages as possible, listening to calls on the way home. One thing that Maria had said when she was like, oh, we have calls at the very beginning, right? She's like, oh, we have calls and here's this call tonight. I'm like, I'm at the salon. They're usually when I'm working. She's like, oh, no worries. You can listen to a recording. They're usually recorded. And and so that right there set the stage for me of, you know what? I can do this even if things are happening while I'm working. And I can listen to it on my way home. I can listen to it, if it's a 30-minute call and I have 5 minutes, I was listening to 5 minutes of it. Like there were no excuses. And still even now, I'm in the middle of watching the replay of last week's Xera goat training because we were at a Mavericks game and we'd already had tickets for it, and so I've been waiting for the recording, which is in Thrive Circle, by the way. Go watch that recording if you haven't watched it yet. And I'm watching it as I can. I was watching it for the first 30 minutes of it before this Zoom, and I will watch it after this Zoom. And because I'm still growing, I still want to grow. I still want to learn from others. I think one of the ladies on there has been here a year and she's cab 60. Well, I haven't hit cab 60 yet. So you guarantee I'm listening to what she's doing. I'm like, well, I want that. And I've always said that with anything. I'm like, well, I want that. With Maria first, well, she hit this and this. I'm like, well, I want that. And it was never, I've never counted myself out. I've just figured out I don't have to have it all together. Jason, I want to share this. It comes around every so often. And when you were talking about this, it made me think about it. And time management, again, it does not mean that you have to have it all together. It does not mean that you have to be perfectly organized. If you saw the floor of my office right now, you would understand what I mean. I'm in the middle of trying to reorganize. My desk is a mess. My floor is a mess. That is next on my list. And so one thing is this article was about Nora Roberts. She's the author. She was somebody had asked, how do you balance writing and your kids? And she said the key to juggling is to know that some of the balls you have in the air are made of plastic and some are made of glass. And if you drop a plastic ball, it bounces, no harm done. If you drop a glass ball, it shatters. So you have to know which balls are glass and which are plastic and prioritize catching the glass ones. And what I love is she says the balls change all the time. And she said, I dropped more than one ball today. It's hard to drop any ball and I hate it, but they were plastic and tomorrow it'd be okay. So she said, people were saying, well, so your kids are the glass ball, like your family's glass. And she's like, no, they change daily. Um, she's talking about juggling 50 plus balls. The balls don't represent family or work. There are separate balls for everything that goes into each of these categories: deadline or project Y or crazy sock day at school. So talking about that and like, there are days where if your mom and your kids having a mental health breakdown day, that's your glass ball. That's your glass ball in that moment. But, if it's, oh, well, we have groceries, but I didn't make it to the grocery store. Well, you don't really need to go to the grocery store if you if you have groceries in your fridge. So that can be you drop that ball, but you can do it tomorrow. Those are the different things. And something with this business is I've noticed there are things that I've learned business wise that can be a plastic ball or they can go on the back burner. But I've also seen people treat every part of this business and push it to the back burner. And if you do that and you don't prioritize, then your business is going to fail. Your business is not going to be in the fire, in the flame when it's pushed to the back or you're constantly treating it like a plastic ball. There are certain parts of your business that you need to prioritize and you need to be able to go, okay, self-assessment time, look in the mirror. I haven't done 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 all the way in this many days or this many weeks, right? And self-assessment time, when you look at yourself and you do a tracking system and you say, okay, I need to get better. I have not added any new people. I have not been in conversations. Those are the things that are going to rebuild your business and keep you going. One thing that I've been doing is really being in conversations because that's getting me new people that know, like, and trust me. I said yesterday on the Mashup Monday, I was like, even if those conversations and stories are about cute boots, right? Like if they have cute boots or they've got the viral Christmas tree that I'm like, ooh, I really like that, or I like this garland, or I like that decoration. The more conversations I'm in, the more they're talking to me, the more they're getting to know me, the more they know, like, and trust me, and the more likely they are to listen to me about Thrive and order from me later.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm gonna share something. I learned this from a farmer a long time ago, but then I had a moment where this concept hit me inside of business and I just got it. And so this was a long time ago. I milked cows as a young kid, and this farmer taught me this. And he was talking about how much milk the cows would give. And I remember telling him, well, why don't you just grow the herd? Why don't you just get more cows? And he said, well, yeah, I could get more cows, but he goes, what if I just learned how to nourish the herd? What if I learned how to feed them better so they produced more? And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I didn't fully get it until I had personal application and I started thinking about that concept inside of this business where, yeah, you can go out and grow the herd. You can go find more people. You can also wear the herd out, but you can also nourish the herd and grow your productivity. So, how is that applicable in this business? It's applicable by what we're doing right now, right? Right now, Amber is nourishing the herd. She is pouring into you guys and giving you information that will help you grow and be more productive, right? Through your time management. And I'm going to give you three words, and I want you to write these three words down and put them on your refrigerator, put them on your mirror somewhere. And these three words, if you remember them and use them each day, they will help you in your business. The first word is peak, spelled Pique. What peak means is you're going to pique someone's interest, right? So if you're just starting in the business, how do you pique someone's interest? Well, first of all, you have to have a product experience. We talked about that earlier. Second of all, you're going to do that by wearing a DFT. Somebody's going to see that and say, hey, what's that on your arm? Is that a Band-Aid? Nope. You've immediately piqued someone's interest, and now you can share with them because they've asked for it, right? Piquing someone's interest is different than puking on someone, right? Don't go just try to push something on someone because most likely they don't want it, right? So always look for ways to pique people's interest. I see very creative ways on reels, on stories, and every one of them, you're piquing someone's interest, right? Because you want somebody to ask questions. You want someone to ask more. The next is pass, Pass, peak and then pass. And what you're going to do with pass is when you pique someone's interest and you share just a little bit about the product or the opportunity with them, you're immediately going to want to pass this person now to Amber or Maria or Elise or Monty or somebody in your organization to do a three-way call, right? And that person is going to validate what you've said. It's third party validation. It's helping build rapport with this person. And now you're not the one that's telling them everything about the business. You have help, right? The last one is plug. Plug. And there's two sides of plug, right? There's the side of being plugged into a team, plugged into a community like this, right? You need to get people plugged into a system and plugged into a team as quickly as possible. That is absolutely paramount. And for multiple reasons. The first is that's where the training is going to happen. And if you're brand new, you're learning yourself, right? So you need to get people into the cloud office, in with other leaders that can help validate what you're teaching them as quickly as possible so they can learn and absorb and grow. The other part of path or the other part of plug is you have to continually be plugging the products and plugging the opportunity, right? Like I asked Amber a little bit ago, well, how many people do you talk to every day? And she's like, I don't know. I'm guessing a lot, right? But if you think about how many people Amber talks to every day, and then you times that by the 10 plus years she's been in the business, we're talking about tens of thousands of plugs, right? Where so peak, pass, and plug. Um, I could go on and on and on about it, but if you'll write those words down so you see them every day and you're reminded that that's what you need to do in your spare 5 minutes, when you're working a concessions booth at your daughter's, basketball game in junior high, that's what you're doing, right? You're like, I have 5 minutes. What am I going to do? All right, peak, pass, and plug. That's what I'm going to do. And everything in this business will fall within one of those three words. I'm a big believer of that. Everything productive in this business will fall within peak, pass, and plug. So, Amber, hopefully that may help someone that is just getting back in the business or just starting the business today.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time and thank you everybody. Guys, here's my challenge to you. If you did not watch the Xera training, go to Thrive Circle. It's the first thing that pops up is the Zoom. Watch here. Click that. Watch it. If you can only watch it in 30 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes increments, do what you can do, but listen to it and add to your training arsenal. Also, if you have not been reaching out to all of your customers, your free customers, your already ordering customers, and letting them know about the pre-order of Xterra because it's still available for pre-order, right? It said it was the 7th, but it looks like it's still open. Yes, Jason, or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so
If,
they
if
can
it,
still
yeah,
pre-order.
yeah,
Okay, awesome. So make sure that you're doing that. Today is payday. It is Tuesday. Don't just talk about the product because there are people that need this business. There are people that are praying for a way out of their financial stress, and they need to know that every Tuesday could be possible for them as well. Thank you again for your time. Appreciate all of you. Bye.
goodbye.